Good evening and thanks for joining us. The Thunder Bay District Municipal League met again today at the Prince Arthur Hotel to discuss a wide array of upcoming plans. The topics at the meeting stretched from expanding transmission lines to bringing back the spring bear hunt. Mike Albanese has the story.
The Thunder Bay District Municipal League spoke on many topics at the day's meeting. One that stood out the most was the future of electrical supply in northwestern Ontario. Thunder Bay receives a large amount of power from its generating plant that runs on coal, but at the start of 2015, coal is no longer going to be an option to burn.
Even if the decision was made today to convert to natural gas, it will take us 2 years to do all the work. So there'll be a year without coal, and we've got to find a way to provide the power to this area that we need, particularly during drought times, that ensures that the lights stay on and the homes remain heated and the mills and mines operate.
The Energy Task Force has been in communication with the Ontario Minister of Energy, Bob Chiarelli, trying to finalize a plan on which direction to go with the generating station. As Angus said, it won't be completed in time, and Thunder Bay will have to go a year at least finding another source of power. The task force has created a video in hopes that their new plan will be accepted by Chiarelli.
But we think it will be a good tool to assist him in understanding how the system in northwestern Ontario works and why the various elements, including the Thunder Bay Generating Station, are important long-term components to the economic health of the region.
Another topic of discussion today was the revival of the spring bear hunt. Black bears are currently at 5 times their optimal population level, and they are also becoming more comfortable moving into confrontations with people. Larry Hebert says that the League fully supports MPP Bill Morrow's move to reignite the hunt.
Well, certainly we'll be forming it as a district to Mr. Morrow's office and giving our support. Certainly a lot of communities cried long and loud about it when it was cut off back in '99. So we thought since he's bringing it back and he's an MPP for this area, we thought we'd support him by bringing a resolution in support of it.
The hunt could bring in up to an estimated $46 million a year in economic activity, according to the League, along with $6 million in tax generation. Mike Albanese, TBT News.
Thunder Bay's independent MP is worried a new policy could mean he'll be getting the short end of the Democratic stick. A motion heading to Parliament's Procedure and Housing Affairs would allow MPs who are not members of the 3 main parties to introduce amendments at the committee phase, but there is a catch. Bruce Heyer says when those bills eventually make their way into the House of Commons, the Speaker will tell those MPs that they already had their chance to speak to the issue and they won't get an opportunity to debate. Heyer says that's the only opportunity MPs like him get to challenge government bills.
The only way that anybody can really raise issues in the House is to propose amendments and then debate those amendments. So it was a really good tool to get around the problem of the omnibus budget bills, and Mr. Harper would like to take that away. It's just one more move by Mr. Harper to lessen the role not only of his own backbenchers, but now even the independents. I don't know why he's so worried about it. There's only a few of us.
Heyer says if the new parliamentary rules pass, it will make the House less democratic than it was in 1867. The Conservatives and Liberals are supporting the change, while the NDP has opposed it. As the population in the Northwest continues to age, the need for long-term care beds is steadily increasing. In Sioux Lookout at the Meno-Yawin Health Centre, those beds are always full. Hospital officials say they have the longest wait times in Ontario, which is leading to other issues. Nate Jones reports.
And it's sad. It is,
And it is sad. A $140 million hospital with 20 long-term care beds that are always occupied. Wait times are as long as 4 to 5 years, says the health center CEO, and often those on the waiting list don't get a bed before they die. But there is another alternative.
We've got all these senior people that live in this town. They've lived here all their lives, right from childhood. And when they need long-term care beds, after they've even gone out of the home care, after they need long-term care, they're shipping them down to Fort Frances.
The problem with taking patients to Fort Frances or Rainy River comes down to geography. At more than a 4 to 5 hour drive to both communities, patients often miss out on personal visits. But there's an alternative to that.
The answer we get from the LHINs is we do now have video conferencing. And that isn't the same as a personal visit. The members of the communities are very familiar with Sioux Lookout. They're familiar with the hospital situation here.
The Meno-Yawin Health Centre completed an independent study which determined that, in fact, the facility needs 96 long-term care beds. Mitchell says from a Ministry of Health standpoint, it sees a town of 5,200, which might not warrant such an expansion.
We don't only service the community of Sioux Lookout. We service the 29 remote First Nations communities, and they also use our long-term care beds.
It's estimated that an expansion to the center to accommodate more long-term beds would be about $30 million. Sioux Lookout will be meeting with the local health integration network and various levels of government next week to address their concerns. Nate Jones, TBT News.
Well, young adults may not always complete high school education, and that can happen for a variety of reasons. The same applies in the Lac Seul First Nation. For a little over a year now, a former elementary school just off reserve has been used as a stepping stone to further educational studies. With some financial help from local mining companies, the Lac Seul Training Center opened its door a little over a year ago. Lac Seul has partnered with the Seven Generations Education Institute to offer courses that go beyond a grade 12 education. The center also facilitates various mining-related courses and certain occupational certifications. The facility is a midway point for students heading into further education or careers in natural resources, construction, and hospitality.
I mean, it's a stepping stone. I mean, education is very important, and a lot of the youth have a chance now to go back and get back into education and fulfill their life dreams, whether it be mining or forestry. And I mean, it's a stepping stone.
The training center hopes to construct a culinary arts training facility sometime next year. Well, the prospect of a lengthy bridge closure following last week's fire on the James Street Swing Bridge is very concerning to some. Several businesses use the rail line to ship their cargo. Emergency response times to the Fort William First Nation will be affected while the bridge is closed. And while there are other ways to get from the city to the reserve and back, it's still a major inconvenience for the thousands of motorists and pedestrians who cross the bridge every day. For our question of the day, we wanted to know if you were worried about a lengthy closure following the fire.
I don't use it so much, but like my parents go over there for gas and cigarettes all the time, and I'm sure it's going to be a pretty big burden on their day to go an extra however far to get onto the res.
I don't use the bridge that often, but I do use it, and I learned to drive on it actually. So it's a landmark, and but besides that, it's a really major artery.
I do use it often. We go over, I'm one of the ones that go over and buy cheap gas. It's going to be a hardship for everybody, not just people on the reserve, but people going across, and for the rail lines. I think it's going to be a real hardship for everybody.
I have used it before for going across the bridge and getting gas. I think it definitely will affect some people. Like, I'm sure people make the trip out there just for the gas and for a couple cheaper products. So it will definitely affect whoever travels across there to get those products all the time.
My mom uses it. I go with her, but I think it's going to be kind of crappy because everybody is so used to going over, and I have to take the long way around. It cuts, and you waste like 7 minutes out of time that you killed going around instead of just going straight through.
Well, clocks go back 1 hour at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thunder Bay Fire Rescue, along with the Canadian Hearing Society, are reminding residents to change the batteries on their smoke alarms when they change their clocks overnight. Officials say with time change, residents should test their smoke alarms and put in new batteries. They suggest replacing smoke alarms that are 10 years of age or older. They also say adding a visual component to your smoke alarm, such as a strobe light, can help better alert a fire to the 25% of Canadians who have some level of hearing loss. Lakehead University Outpost was filled to the brim last night, but it wasn't with the usual crowd of university students. People from all around Thunder Bay came for their chance to win a great prize. Rock 94 hosted their annual Big Grand Prize knockout party at the Outpost. The point of the contest is to avoid elimination and to be the last man standing when contestants punch holes in a wall to draw names. To get an invite to be one of the 20 contestants, you had to call in after you heard a knockout sound on the radio. The grand prize was a boat, an ATV, and a generator. Winner Rocky Lubier spoke about the wait during his eliminations.
I don't know, it's almost like, yeah, it's almost like, I don't know, first day of school, I guess. I don't know. Wow. I don't know, it was exciting, I guess. Well, I knew I was going to be the winner at the end there. No, I'm just joking, but I guess when they called his name, I guess I knew it was me.
The value of the grand prize was just under $30,000. Definitely looked like a fun event to be at.
No kidding, pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Punch some holes and
Punch some holes and win $30,000 in prizes. Why not?
no big deal,
No
right?
big deal.
Yeah. Sports coming up after the break.
We have a couple LU teams playing this weekend.
Yeah, Thunderwolves, the hockey team at home this weekend, the volleyball team on the road.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in just a second. Let's start on the ice. A couple of notes to pass your way. The LA Kings have placed Jeff Carter on injured reserve with a lower body injury. Carter led the Western Conference in goals last year with 26. And it's unclear how long he'll be out of the lineup. And the Buffalo Sabres, they placed Patrick Kaleta on waivers today. Kaleta was suspended for 10 games for a hit to the head of Blue Jackets Jack Johnson on October 10th. The team is calling it a necessary move aimed at helping the 27-year-old forward change his game. Now tonight, Pavel Bure will have his number 10 retired when Vancouver hosts Toronto. Canuck players and coaches look forward to playing the Maple Leafs at home.
The afternoon games are fun against Toronto as well. You know, I'm a guy from the Toronto area, so these games are always special for me. There's always a lot of Leaf fans in the building, usually fighting for to be loud against our fans. So it'll be a loud building. I don't know who they'll be cheering for exactly, but it'll be fun.
I think players are performers. They like to perform. They want the presence of the crowd. They want all that. As a coach, I really don't care who comes in here. I just want us to play better than we played the last game. Our players will be ready to play, and I think the building's going to help us as we.
Action this afternoon. Blackhawks and Jets. First period, Tobias Enstrom's shot hits a couple of bodies in front, but it finds its way through. His second of the season makes it 1-0 Winnipeg. Midway through the period, Marcus Kruger is going to win the faceoff cleanly back to Nicholas Hjalmarsson, and he blasts it, and I mean blasts it, past Andre Pavlik. That ties the game up at 1 apiece. To the opening minute of the second, Hawks 2-on-1. Brandon Bowling keeps. Smart decision because he's going to go roof daddy on Pavlik, his second. Chicago up 2-1. Under 2 minutes later, off a Jets turnover, Marian Hossa, the great feed to Patrick Sharp, and he is going to make the great move to the forehand. Oh, that's pretty. His third on the year, slides it home, How about Mr. and Mrs. Sharp made the drive to Winnipeg from Thunder Bay? Yeah, they love that goal. Chicago would add a couple more, and they go on to win this one 5-1 the final. Still on the ice, the Lakehead Thunderwolves face a tough task this weekend. They welcome the #1 team in the CIS, the Alberta Golden Bears, to the Gardens. I was at the game last night. Let me tell you, it was the best I've seen the Wolves team play in years. The rematch goes tonight, but Ryan Benazzo was there last evening, and he's got your highlights.
Captain Andrew Wilkins and his LU teammates facing a tall task against the top-ranked Alberta Golden Bears. 6.5 in, Alberta shows off its power play, which was operating at better than 27% coming in. Good for third in the country. Johnny Lazo gets a stick on the Jordan Rowley point shot. That finds its way behind Justin McDonald. 1-0 U of A. The Golden Bears applying much of the pressure early, but Lakehead taking advantage of opportunities. Kellen Ainsworth, what a shot. Uses defenseman Jesse Craig as a screen and rips it past Curtis Muka. It's 1-1. 5 minutes later, LU with pressure once again. Wilkins is left all alone in front. He outweights Muka for the go-ahead goal. 2-1 Lakehead. Not long after, this is one of the prettiest hockey plays you'll see. Behind the back pass from Mike Hammond to Ainsworth to a streaking Jake Carrick. That's just not fair. Surprise, surprise, LU leads 8-0 Alberta by a pair. But you can't do this against the best team in the CIS. Dying seconds of the period, Nathan Bruyere serves this up on a platter for Brett Ferguson. In comes Jamie Crooks to finish it off. You hear the horn. That goal came with less than a second to go on the clock. So instead of a 2-goal cushion, Lakehead enters the dressing room clinging to a 1-goal lead. Move to the middle period, just 20 seconds in, that lead evaporates. Uh-oh, it's Levko Koper on the feed from Cruz Reddick. We've got a brand new game. But don't tell the Thunderwolves they're supposed to get dominated. They'll have none of it as Cody Alcock chips it to Trevor Gamache. Oh my. Gamache is fired up, and why not? 4-3 T-Wolves. Still in the second, Ryan McGill to Keith Grondin, 5-3. But Alberta, they can score in bunches, and they prove it yet again to begin the third. Jordan Hickmott, 2 goals in less than a minute and a half, both from going to the net. Round and round we go. It's 5-5 when this happens. Justin McDonald, who'd really played quite well, lets in a cupcake. And wouldn't you know it, that's the difference. Jordan Rowley gets it. Hickmott would add an empty netter for the hat trick. The Wolves lose a heartbreaker, 7-5 to the Golden Bears. Ryan Benazzo, TBT Sports.
Tonight's game should be a dandy. Still with LU teams, the Lakehead volleyball team has won 8 of its last 9 regular season games dating back to the midway point of last season. The Thunderwolves surprised many last year when they went on a 6-game winning streak that propelled the club to the OUA playoffs for the first time in 7 years. Now, the Wolves are already 2-0 this year after a pair of 5-set victories over Windsor this weekend. They're in Southern Ontario for back-to-back games tonight against Ryerson and Toronto tomorrow. Coach Chris Green expects both games will be a battle, and he knows his team isn't sneaking up on anybody this season.
Teams are more aware. They expect us. They know that they're going to have to outdig us. They know they're going to have to serve tough against us, and so we have to go on the road and serve notice every time we play to ourselves that we can contend and that we can play with teams and just get to that point in this game where it's close and who's going to make that point to take the lead. So that's what I want the girls to focus on.
Just realizing what we're capable of. Took us a few years to figure it out, and the possibility of going out there and proving to the OUA that we're not just lucky, that we can actually do this. And we're working hard, we're training hard, we're doing our homework, and we deserve this.
Lakehead won the first set in Ryerson 25-18. Meanwhile, on the gridiron, the St. Ignatius Falcons are off to the junior final for the 2nd year in a row. Chris Merritt had a pair of touchdowns as the Falcons beat the Westgate Tigers 34-6. In the other semi, it was St. Pat's over Churchill 34-29. So next weekend's final will be a rematch of the Catholic Bowl. Also today, the Boston Red Sox celebrated their World Series victory. Whoa, yeah, man, that was a good one. Guess who? David Ortiz leading the festivities as the Red Sox held their parade this morning. There were hundreds of thousands of people lining the parade route that ran from Fenway Park to the Charles River. Now, they even made a stop at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. That was a really cool moment. Fans were packed 10 deep along most of the route. Now, coaches and players were also riding in duck boats as you can see them there, so they could pop into the water at one point. Sox celebrating their 3rd championship in the last 10 years. And here is the World Series MVP with some comments today.
How you feeling right now?
Like $1 million.
You were here for all of them. It has to be an amazing feeling to know that you've been here for 3 Boston Red Sox World Championships.
Yes, sir.
Can you put into words what this World Series meant to you, for this city, and to do it here in Boston?
Boston, man, this is it. Means, you know, we stay together. It's a family. And we fight against the world, man. You know what I mean? You guys start that out, we finish it. That's for you, boss.
Another. Now back on the gridiron, it's the last weekend of the CFL regular season, but the thing is, the playoff matchups have already been set. Last night, the Calgary Stampeders lost a couple of starters to injury. Teams today were hoping that wouldn't be the case. Ticats and Blue Bombers late first half. Hamilton up 10-6. Henry Burris finds Onrea Jones and he stretches out for his 2nd touchdown of the game. It was 17-6 Tigers at the half. Tiger Cats rather at the half. Hamilton coach Kent Austin actually decided to rest a lot of his offensive starters, including running back C.J. Gable. But Siobhan Walker doing it pretty good in his place. He busts off the 70-yard touchdown run in the 3rd quarter. Hauled down by the horse collar tackle, but he was okay. Ticats go on to win the game 37-7. They'll face Montreal in the East semifinal next week. Also, it's 13-10 at the half for the Eskimos over the Rough Riders. That's all I got, though. So there you go. And I sound like a 13-year-old up here. Losing my voice a little bit.
In the last couple hours, you've seen a little bit of rain, seen a little bit of snow. We'll tell you what's on the way after the break. So here in our city, like I said, we've been seeing a little bit of precipitation over the last couple hours. Kind of came out of nowhere. It was cloudy all day, but the weather was nice.
It was beautiful, yeah. I was at the stadium watching that football game in there, so it was awesome outside.
Yeah, went to go get lunch, and all of a sudden, I was like, what is this?
And that's what Director Ed was saying. It was like 20 minutes before he was here, it was like snow.
Out of nowhere. Snow, there was wet snow, there was, I guess, rain.
There was a 30% chance of that happening today, but
there was. Across the country, lots more snow in the West Coast. Let's get to it right now. In Vancouver, 7 degrees right now with some rain. Prince George is at 3 with mostly clear sky there. As we head into Alberta, snowfall warnings basically across the southern part of the province. Also a little bit in the eastern part of British Columbia as well. Edmonton right now is at 0 degrees, Calgary -2. In Saskatoon, we're at 7. Warm right up in Regina at 11 degrees. Winnipeg is 8. And Churchill -3 under a mostly clear sky. Heading into Ontario, Toronto right now is at 5 degrees. Ottawa and Montreal sitting at 2. And Quebec City is at 3 under a mostly cloudy sky. In the East Coast, Fredericton's at 7. Halifax and Charlottetown both hovering right around the 10-degree mark there. Similar conditions in St. John's under a cloudy sky. Our region tonight, expect to see cloudy skies. We shouldn't really be seeing too much snow or rain. However, there is a chance of it throughout the region. Temperatures all going to be in the negatives, which is pretty much on par with what we should be seeing this time of year. Into tomorrow, we're going to see, again, just a chance of snow or rain, depending on where you are. Otherwise, mostly clear skies. The temperatures rather, are going to be in the low single digits. Some warm weather for what we should be seeing at this time of year. Right now, 2 degrees outside, mainly cloudy. There is some light rain, some freezing rain, some wet snow, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you are. Not really much wind to speak of, coming out of the east, 8 or 9 kilometers an hour. Overnight, we're going to go down to a low of 3. We do have a 40% chance of flurries or rain showers. The wind will pick up just slightly, and it's going to move to come out of the southeast instead. That chance of rain will carry on for tomorrow, but a reminder for tonight, turn your clocks back. That happens at 2 o'clock this morning. We gain 1 hour of sleep, so I know Matt Scooby is pretty excited to get an extra hour, that's for sure. Over the next few days, tomorrow, expect to see again a 30% chance of flurries or showers in the early morning. By the time we get to Sunday night, we have a 60% chance of showers overnight. That'll carry on into Monday, but look at the temperature, 9 degrees for Monday and Tuesday. By the time we head into the early part of next week, we pretty much have that chance of showers or flurries continuing all throughout the week. So I guess winter's finally coming.
Yeah, but that extra hour of sleep.
Always
Love
something
it.
to look forward to. Best day of the year.
So exciting.
Other than Christmas, Halloween.
Hockey notes, LU, Alberta tonight. Yes, at Christmas,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Toronto, Vancouver over on CKPR Thunder Bay starting right after us.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.